Hey everyone. So, you live in Mission Viejo, and you're thinking about dog training. You've come to the right place. Finding the right professional is honestly the most important part of the whole process. So in this quick guide, we're going to walk through everything you need to know to find a great match for you and your best friend.
One of the best parts about living in Mission Viejo is just getting out and about, right? Whether you're taking a walk down the Oso Creek Trail or maybe just hanging out at La Paz Plaza. And let's be real, doing all that stuff is way, way more fun when your dog is calm and happy to be there with you. That's really what good training is all about, making those everyday moments a reality.
All right, here's what we've got on tap. First, we'll look at different training styles and formats. Then we'll get into what you can expect to pay around here. After that, we'll talk about how to actually pick a trainer, go over the local rules you gotta know, and wrap up with some awesome local spots for you and your pup.
Oh, right. Let's get into our first section, training philosophies and formats. So what are your options, really?
Okay, let's talk about the big one, positive reinforcement. This is really the gold standard in modern dog training. The whole idea is super simple. When your dog does something you like, you reward them. Could be a treat, could be praise, whatever they love. It's not just about getting them to listen, it's about building a really solid, trusting bond with them. It's humane, and it just works.
So, how is training actually delivered? Well, you've basically got three main flavors. You've got your group classes, which are fantastic for puppies or dogs who need to practice being around other dogs. Then there are private lessons, which are perfect if you need to tackle a specific issue, and they're tailored just for you. Finally, you have board and train programs. These are more intense, kind of like a boot camp for when you need some serious help. What's best really just boils down to your dog, your goals, and your lifestyle.
Okay, next up, let's talk about the money side of things. What should you actually budget for training here in Mission Viejo? So to just give you a ballpark figure right out of the gate, a single private lesson that's, about an hour to an hour and a half long is probably going to run you somewhere between $125 and $225 in the Mission Viejo area. A lot of people start here to get one-on-one help for a specific problem. And here's a more detailed look at the average costs for 2025 across the board. You can see everything from puppy classes, which are usually a bit more affordable, all the way up to those intensive board and trains. Of course, a trainer who's been doing this for 20 years is going to charge more than someone just starting out. And the more complex your dog's needs are, the more you can expect to invest.
So you've got a handle on the methods, you know what the costs look like, but how do you actually pick the one? Let's talk about how to choose your trainer and feel really confident about your decision.
This is a really big one. You should know that in California, there's no official license for dog trainers. Anybody can print a business card. That's why certifications are so helpful. When you see acronyms like CPDT-K or KPA-CTP, it means that trainer has gone the extra mile. They've passed exams and committed to staying up to date on the science of how dogs learn. It's a really good sign of a true professional.
But of course, a certification isn't the whole story. You need to actually talk to them. So when you get a potential trainer on the phone or in a consultation, what are the essential questions you need to ask?
Here's a checklist of 5 absolute must-asks. First, ask them flat out about their methods. You want to hear positive reinforcement. Then, ask about their credentials, what we just talked about. Number 3 is huge. How will they customize a plan for your lifestyle? Training isn't one size fits all. You also need to know how they measure progress. How will you know it's working? And finally, always get a full cost breakdown in writing. Any good trainer will be totally transparent about all of this.
All right, let's switch gears a bit and talk about something every dog owner in town needs to know: the local rules for being a good canine citizen.
There are really 3 big ones to keep in mind. First, unless you're at an official dog park, your dog needs to be on a leash, and that leash can't be longer than 6 feet. That's a standard rule pretty much everywhere. Second, your dog has to be licensed with Orange County. And to get that license, you need proof of a rabies vaccine. And last but not least, excessive barking? Yep, that can actually be a nuisance violation. Just another reason why training for quiet behavior is so helpful.
All right, now for the really fun stuff. You've been working hard with your trainer, so where can you go to put those new skills to the test and just have some fun?
We've got some great options right here. The Mission Viejo Dog Park is a classic spot for off-leash play. And for those of you with smaller pups, they have a separate area, which is awesome. If you're looking for an on-leash adventure, you have to check out the trails at Aliso and Wood Canyons Wilderness Park. It's a perfect place to practice that loose leash walking with real-world distractions like other people and even some wildlife.
At the end of the day, all of this, the research, the cost, the training sessions, it's all about one thing: building an amazing relationship with your dog. It's about making those simple moments, like a walk around the block, a trip to the park, or even just chilling on the couch at home, so much more enjoyable and stress-free. Choosing a good trainer is really an investment in that partnership. Here's to many happy adventures together around Mission Viejo.